Good evening, Captain DiBianca. I'm Cadet Beggs. I'm a team leader in Company I-2. This is an information briefing. It's unclassified. The purpose of this briefing is to inform you on the troop leading procedures at the squad level, in hopes of creating shared understanding about what a squad leader might do when given a mission. During the course of this brief, I'll give you a brief overview of what the troop leading procedures are, and then I'll walk you through how they work, step by step. First, the overview. The troop leading procedures are a framework. They're helpful for flexibility in difficult times. They're useful for squad leaders especially because these are primarily for small unit leaders. Troop leading procedures are not rigid and they're not always in the same order. There will be several troop leading procedures that you'll do out of order. You'll also do some the entire time that you're conducting the TLPs. So, the most important thing to remember is that these are a framework. It's not a formula, it's a way to do things that has worked for other leaders in the past. So, we'll get right into it. Step 1, receive the mission. This is when squad leaders in particular, perform subsequent quick analysis. They're given a mission through either a warn ord, an op ord, or a frag ord, and they need to analyze that mission as quickly as possible. They need to get the relevant information out to their team leaders as soon as possible, because that allows leaders, subordinate leaders, to plan at whatever pace they can do. Leaders, squad leaders as well, really look to abide by the 1/3, 2/3 principle. This is meaning that the squad leader uses no more than 1/3 of the available time to plan in order to give their subordinate leaders, as you can see here, the 2 team leaders, 2/3 of the available time to plan. Step 2, issue a warning order. This is kind of your mission statement. You can see that there's a mission statement in the actual pamphlet here, in the actual sheet, but what you're really looking at here is to give your soldiers the 5 W's. Who, what, when, where, and why. It's best if this is a pre-planned document, similar to what you see on the right side, but it's presented in a 5-paragraph format. This is really, really useful because a warno is going to be able to give you the situation, who they're fighting, the mission of the platoon, the company, but it reiterates the commander's intent. Also, the type of mission and its location. If info is unknown, it's important to leave it blank. Not everything has to be perfect here. We're going based on what we know. Step 3, make a tentative plan. This is the mission analysis stage of the troop leading procedures, or one of them. This is when a leader asks themselves, what is my mission here? How do I do it? This is when they begin to prep their course of action in hopes of being able to assess risk and do what they're told to do. The primary reference for all of this is ATP 3-21.8. You can see here that in a time-constrained environment, a platoon leader typically develops only one course of action. The same thing could be true for a squad leader, especially because they're a subordinate leader and they have 2 people reporting to them. As time permits, though, you can develop as many courses of action. Again, the troop leading procedures are flexible. If you don't have the time to create multiple courses of action, that's okay. You just have to do what's best for the mission at hand. Step 4, initiate movement. This can be done anytime throughout the TLPs, as indicated by ATP 3-21.8. It can include movement toward a battle position, a new area of operations, or an assembly area. You notice here, AO Alpha to AO Bravo. It can be as simple as that. There's no need for it to be any more complicated than that, and it can be done at any time. Step 5, conduct reconnaissance. This is when the squad leader must use the available resources they have to get the information that they need. They include team leaders in the reconnaissance process, and it can be physical, digital, or, as you see here, it can be a sand table, or it could be a map. It's also really important to exploit the principles of speed and surprise, as is directed in ATP 3-21.8. Speed and surprise are what give us an edge over the enemy, especially as a squad. The smallest unit in a platoon is a team, but the squad that oversees that team is going to be able to have a huge impact on the fight. And having good reconnaissance is how they're going to do it. Step 6, complete the plan. This is when the leader develops and refines their course of action. They're going to prepare their overlays, they're going to refine their indirect fire lists, and they're going to complete the sustainment and mission requirements that are necessary to keep their soldiers happy or healthy and safe. They're going to ensure that the plan is commonly sensical. Now, this part of the TLPs, this last step right here, I've included that because sometimes it can be a little bit, the mission can be a little bit wacky or hairy. And it's important that a leader really uses common sense when they're completing their plan. Step 7. The squad leader is going to issue the operations order. An operations order follows a 5-paragraph format, as was indicated earlier. Situation, mission, execution, sustainment, command, and control. They're going to brief the op ward in the most effective time-allowing manner. This can be verbally, this can be in any way that they need to do it with the time available. The op board is going to serve as a checklist for subordinate leaders to ensure complete understanding of the plan, and they're going to make sure that they're going to have their lower soldiers understand the plan. You can use varying methods for back briefing, including asking soldiers to back brief you, or you can do a confirmation brief. You really want to make sure that soldiers are comfortable asking any questions they have. When you're all on the same page, the mission will go better. Step 8, supervise and refine. This step is done throughout the entirety of the TLPs. It's all encompassing. You're going to perform rehearsals, PCCs and PCIs. You're going to listen to your team leader's op words. Everything within supervising and refining the plan and the mission is a squad leader's job. And they're going to nest themselves within the commander's intent. Finally, the troop leading procedures. They're flexible, they're primarily the responsibility of small unit leaders, and they work based on the commander's intent. Again, the primary reference for this information brief, is ATP 3-21.8. That concludes my brief. Thank you very much for your time.